Welcome to Streetwise, kicking off 2025 with a look back at the highlights from 2024. Doing that is my co-host for Streetwise and really the one with all the information who we need to listen to. We have Kim Vanatta. She is the Assistant Director with the Tennessee Highway Safety Office and just a wealth of knowledge and information on things we need to know. So thanks for coming back and visiting with us again.
Oh, it's always great to come and visit with you.
Looking back at 2024, what is that feeling coming off of 2024?
I have to say first that we did a good job, but one fatality is one too many. I mean, people are still losing their lives, and it's something that people are going to be missing at the dinner table or at holidays, so we don't want to be satisfied with where we are. We are glad that the fatalities are going down, so we're happy about that. We're going to continue to work like we always are, sending our message out, and we want to reach everybody. So that's what we're trying to do.
And we'll be highlighting those numbers for you here today on Streetwise. Before we get to the numbers, I want to read a quote from Buddy Lewis. He is the director of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, and it says, "Our mission is to make Tennessee's roadways safer for everyone by prioritizing education, awareness, and enforcement. We're saving lives and building a culture of safety." Education was huge for you all in 2024.
Yes, if they don't know what they're supposed to do, they don't know how to do it, then we're going to have issues. So we want to make sure everybody knows the laws. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Behavior change is what our office is. So we're trying to change the behavior so they're doing the right thing.
But let's say you all can only do so much because our behavior change does fall on us, on how we drive, on how we walk as a pedestrian on our area streets.
Right, and that's what we have to do. We have to convince you to change your behavior because we want to save lives.
And hopefully some of these numbers will do that for you because, as Kim mentioned, one is just too many. One life lost is too many. So stick with us through Streetwise. We're going to highlight the numbers from 2024 and other pieces of information on how, 2025, what we can all do in 2025 to make sure that we stay safe and, stay alive. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Bongo Java. Come see us at the Omni Nashville.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door. That starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
Welcome back. We're getting ready to look and break down the numbers from 2024, the highlights from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Kim Vanatta sitting with me to share this information. Okay, looking at 2024, what did the numbers look like?
Again, it just hurts me when we say numbers because they're people.
Well, they are,
yes.
yes.
It just hurts
You're
me.
right, you're right, you're right.
Because, we don't want to leave anybody out. Vision zero is what we are.
Right.
We want to zero fatalities. That's what our goal is. Now, whether we can do it or not, that's going to be challenging. But our numbers did go down. So Total fatalities, we are down 132 fatalities, which is huge. We haven't been that low in a very long time. And then we look at teens. Teens are down 21. Teens have been rising and rising and rising. You're talking about new drivers. So they've not been on the road. They're very independent. They have lots of things to do in the car rather than drive.
So inexperienced.
Yes. So we're trying to get them focused on go from point A to point B. No crashes. You have to focus on driving. So that's huge that that number went down. And then our non-motorists are down 29. And those are the non-motorist pedestrians. And that's been going up and up and up nationally, not just in our state, but it's down, and that's huge.
So not wanting to say numbers, because again,
Right.
that's because we are all, you're not a number when it comes to a life. So lives saved really this year,
Right.
just by doing what we're supposed to do, by using common sense, by following the rules of the road, the
Right.
rules of being a pedestrian.
We're trying to change behaviors, and with the pedestrians, and we've talked about this before, it's a team effort. You have the motorist, you have the pedestrian, they have to work together. So at intersections, they really should, eye contact will be great, and the pedestrian really needs to pay attention. And I get the fatality reports every morning, and in the past 2 days, we've had 2 pedestrian fatalities, and both of them were pedestrian in roadway, which means they were the ones at fault. And I hate that, because we're trying to change that behavior and teach people that where they need to cross and where they shouldn't cross. So that's pretty big.
I feel like this is something we have to work together on this one.
Right.
We have to do this together. Okay, let's talk about some of the grants that were awarded to your office.
Well, this year, and we just sent them all out, we have 400.
Okay.
We've sent out 400 grants. Most of them are law enforcement. Law enforcement officers don't make a lot of money. It's kind of like teachers. We don't appreciate the great people in our lives, but they are able to spend the money on overtime. So they're on overtime working. We're providing that funding. They're working overtime, so they're on the road trying to enforce the laws, but they're not out there just to write citations. They're out there to change behaviors too. So we give them that opportunity to get the overtime, and then the education. We have many groups that are providing education for our drivers.
Speaking of that overtime, and it really brings right now something this time of year, it is wintertime, which means snowfall, which means, when we get some of that, you have cars that end up in ditches, people out there helping each other, officers out there. Do we need to take extra precautions this time of year during those storm events, those weather events?
In Tennessee, for sure, because Tennesseans aren't accustomed to snow, so they don't drive very well in snow, myself included. So I just stay inside. But the slipping and sliding, you have to slow down. Speed is such a huge factor in a lot of crashes. And when we're on ice and we're sliding across the street, across the lines, if you're a pedestrian, you have to be extra careful, because you don't know what the cars are going to do. And then we have to watch out for the emergency vehicles too. I mean, these people are putting their lives at risk every time they stop to help someone. So we need to make sure we're paying attention to them. And they are pedestrians.
Right. And speaking of people helping others, this is something I've seen at least twice now, I want to say in the past couple of weeks, is of a disabled vehicle on the interstate. Right. Either that motorist being out, either doing something on the side of the interstate with their car, receiving help to get their car, running again. And there's, they get hit.
That is a really big problem, because I know you have to do something for your car. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be on the left side of the car if the car's on the right shoulder, because that's where the traffic is. If you have to get out of your car, which I highly suggest you don't, you should be where the grass is on that side. Okay. You never want to be on that other side of the car. Even law enforcement, they'll go up to that other side so they're not in the lane of traffic. But everybody has a phone. So that's what you need to do. You need to call for help instead of walk.
And then for those of us driving, we need to stay off our phones. So we make sure that, there's no, veering over to
right.
either one side or the other. Okay, let's talk about those individuals trained through safety classes, or the safety classes, the safety classes offered?
We have training really high, over 90% go to attend the training. Most of those are law enforcement courses. Okay. And the standardized field sobriety testing, so they're checking for impairment on the side of the road, and they're talking about speed, and they're talking about accident reconstruction, but this is where they get post-certified. And our training is free for law enforcement. So we really want to make it available to everyone.
Is your just average citizen able to go to the training or no?
There are a couple of courses that we do, but this is mainly for post-certification for, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but the fact that we offer free training is great, and we'll go to all parts of the state to get them trained. We want to make sure everybody is qualified and they're doing what they need to do.
Okay, and let's talk about a life-saving measure that's kind of habit. I know for me, I'm sure for most of you, that seatbelt usage. How does that look for us?
We have a 92% usage rate in Tennessee now, which is
good?
a very high usage rate.
Great job to all of us.
Very high. We want to get that other 8% though.
Okay.
So we're working hard to get that other 8%. And then some of them will get pulled over and say, just find me because I'm not going to wear my seatbelt. And I don't understand why.
I was just about to say that, but why?
I can't explain it. I mean, I cannot explain it. How do you tell somebody to use their seatbelt when they say, just go ahead and find me, I'm going to pay for the ticket? And I'm sitting there thinking about it and looking at it and going, what you're doing is possibly costing yourself your life.
Yeah,
because you're making that decision. I can't explain it.
I don't understand. I just don't understand that right there because that is such a life-saving piece of material equipment in your car. Looking at your outreach efforts and programs for those that are getting up in years and for those, that may have a child passenger in the car for child safety seats. Let's start with child safety seats first. What's out there for those maybe new parents to make sure those seats are put in correctly?
Well, we have child passenger safety events, and we show them how they're supposed to be buckled in or strapped in or what seat they're supposed to use. But I will tell you from experience, because I have grandchildren, and those seats are not easy to put in. I got one, and I'm trying to put it in correctly, and I've just finally called a law enforcement officer. I said, will you please come over here and show me how to put this seat in, because I have no idea. If it's put in incorrectly, it could be more dangerous than if they're not in one at all.
No,
and they are really, really impressive if you can get them in correctly.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I am on this, you can reach out to your local law enforcement office.
Oh, absolutely.
I know for Clarksville, Montgomery County, the Sheriff's Department and the Clarksville Police Department came together to do a child safety event, child safety seat event, to make sure parents were putting them in or guardians were putting them in properly. I'm guessing that's the way it is throughout all the counties.
It is, and we have sobriety checkpoints. So the people will go through the checkpoints and just checking for impairment, and they also have child safety checks there. So if someone's not in a child safety seat, they will pull them over to the side and they will give them a safety seat and put it in if they don't have one available.
No kidding, that's awfully nice.
Well, we're trying to save lives.
Again, all these measures that are being taken. Okay, looking at senior drivers, this is a really hard area sometimes for some because again, as we get older, we don't want to lose that independence, but there are some variables, that are taking place as you age.
Right, and I mean, we talk about impairment, mainly alcohol, but in this case, we could talk about prescription drugs. That's also impairment, and sometimes they don't understand how that affects them when they're driving, because it does. And so we have to think about them in this case, and they will get pulled over and they will have to do the sobriety test. We have that, but again, them not knowing if they're affected or not, that hurts us. So even as you get older, we have car fit events where you go to this car fit event and they will show you how to use the mirrors on your car, where you need to be sitting, how you need to be buckled in. So we're trying to make them safer that way as well. And then the cars now, I mean, we are so beyond just a regular car.
Oh,
we have cars driving themselves, which I do not like. I like to drive my own car. But they don't know what those are. And older cars even have things on them that, to me, you're not paying attention to the road because you're just letting the car drive itself. That makes me very uncomfortable.
And again, if we have an older person in our world, in our orbit, making sure that they do have that seat position correctly, the mirror adjustment. Can we just reach out to CarFit? Is there a website for the CarFit information?
Actually, you can go to our website.
Okay.
We have all the information just put together really, really neatly on our website. It's tntrafficsafety.org.
I knew that. I just wanted you to say that. Stick with us right here at Streetwise. When we come back, Kim is going to talk to us about distracted driving. We'll be right back.
Step into the Lionel retail store at Opry Mills, Nashville, and you'll be captivated by all the magic of the 124-year history of Lionel trains. Whether you're already a train enthusiast or just getting started, Lionel will energize your love for trains. NASCAR fan? Come check out your local Lionel station to learn all there is to know about model trains and die-cast NASCAR collectibles. Visit LionelNashville.com or call 615-455-9399.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Hi, I'm McKenna at the Nashville Omni Hotel. Come see us at 5 and 10.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
Welcome back to Streetwise. Kim, all right, we're talking distracted driving now. The definition of distracted driving is the act of driving while engaged in activities that divert the driver's attention away from the road. So that's anything. That is from messing with the radio, your cell phone, watching a movie, which is something I saw as I was sitting in the passenger seat as my husband was driving. There was another driver. There was the phone attached to the dashboard, but you could see that there was something playing. That is eating. That is anything. Is this a big problem for us here in the state, in Tennessee?
Oh, it's huge. We haven't actually had that hands-free Tennessee very long. It just happened in the last few years.
Okay.
So hands-free Tennessee means your hands are supposed to be on the wheel, but it's like you said, distracted could mean anything. People love to multitask, myself included, and you get behind the wheel of a car and it's an excellent time for us to think about, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. If you're thinking that, you're not thinking about getting from point A to point B. So the distraction, like you said, could be cognitive. Mm-hmm. You're just not thinking about what you're doing, and that should be just driving. But people talk about the phones. That's what they go to immediately.
That's
and
true.
I'm sitting there,
So much
okay, there are phones, and they're this, and they're this, and they're this. People don't think about anything else.
And I'll admit, like the zoning out, I've gotten to point B and been like, I don't remember most of the drive of coming from point A, and it's one of those kind of on autopilot. It's somewhere if there's a destination spot that you always, drive to, I've, found myself thinking of something else, and, you know, it's scary.
It is scary. It is scary. And I mean, the texting, we'll go back to the phone, the texting, sending or receiving, you're driving the length of a football field. And I know football season's almost over, college football, but people can relate to the length of that field and not looking at the road at all.
So again, we touched on cognitive distractions, visual distractions, not looking from the road. Talk to us about manual distractions.
Because we're so busy and we have to do things while we're driving. Yes, manual distractions. We talked about eating a little bit earlier. Eating is one because you're in a hurry, so you have to get to the next spot. So you're going to sit there and eat. And you have to have both hands to eat sometimes. So you have to pay attention to that.
No, you don't.
Well, driving with your knees, I've seen people do that. I mean, again, you have to focus, and you have other people in the car. We talked about the teens, and they don't focus very well anyway because they're still learning, and the last thing they need to do is Spotify or any music or talking to their friends, or we have the Facebook and the Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. So they're really into that. So we have to really teach them that when they drive, they're supposed to be driving and nothing else.
You know, and I know we chuckle and, you know, not making light of any of this at all ever, but it's just, you know, this is something that is brought up every year, and you're still seeing deaths. And as Kim, as you mentioned, one is too many. One life lost is a family that's lost that loved one.
Right.
And would you say that, you know, with young drivers, it is kind of, they see what their parents or what their guardians are doing and they take those same actions? It's like, well, I know you may say this, but visually I'm seeing you doing this.
Right. And I really want parents to understand, because you feel like your kids are not listening to you. They are listening to you, but they're listening more to what you're doing than what you're saying. So you tell them to put the phone down and then you pick the phone up. I would do the same thing. Why are you telling me to do it if you're doing it? What's the difference in you and me? So if we're going to tell them to buckle up, we better be buckled. Or tell them to put the phone down, we need to put our phones down too. So it is really important for you to do what you say and when you're trying to teach someone something.
Since October, we've been doing these Streetwise segments, especially around those busy holidays. What will we be able to do in 2025 to continue to get your message out there?
We're going to keep pounding it like we've been doing, and then we'll have, because I work on media as well, so we'll have commercials that will reach everyone else. We're going to start working with Ryman. So there are lots of Nashvillians in Ryman, different demographic a little bit, so we're going to reach those people. Geofencing, so we'll find out where the people are, the highest problem areas. So technology, not great all the time. We like it. It goes way above and beyond sometimes. And that's a problem with kids too. I mean, if I have problems with my phone or my computer, I call my daughter because I don't know how to do it, and I'm not going to Google it. I'm going to say, look, I'm having this problem. Will you help me with it? So they're so technologically
savvy.
Yeah, and so many things that we can't do, and they take it for granted. And I think that happens behind the wheel.
Let's try to, you know, keep ourselves alive and our loved ones alive. You know, spread this message, spread Streetwise, spread, you know, the words coming from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Do you want to highlight, before we leave, the number of hired and trained new state troopers that we have here in Tennessee?
Well, we're finally to a point where we understand that how needed they are, and we appreciate what they're doing. And like we talked about, the numbers are down again. People are still being killed, but we had really big problems in Memphis, and a lot of those troopers went to Memphis, and then our fatalities went down. So just the visual of law enforcement is great. I mean, I drive the speed limit now. I mean, when I was younger, maybe not. Maybe I drove a little faster. But anybody that sees law enforcement, they're going to immediately slow down, even if you're going the speed limit.
You are right. Yes, yes. Every time that foot hits the brake or starts tapping on the brake. Kim, any final thoughts?
Starting the new year, we want to make sure, I mean, New Year's resolution. Here we go. We're still at the beginning of January.
That is true. That is true.
New Year's resolution. You want to pay attention when you're behind the wheel. You want to pay attention to the pedestrians, because we have that issue. We want to make sure we're still trending down with the pedestrians. Don't drive impaired. Stop the speeding. That's a big problem as well. And buckle up every time. I mean, everybody knows these things. We just have to put them into practice.
Be a smart pedestrian, smart motorist. Kim Vanatta, thank you so very much, the Assistant Director with the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. A big shout out to our state troopers out there. Thank you. Thank you to all law enforcement from our sheriff's departments and our local police departments. We appreciate all that you all do. To our EMS, thank you so much for continuing to be there and, you know, helping us in our times of need. So thank you. Thanks to all of you. And thank you for your time, Kim. This has been informative and helpful and eye-opening. Enjoy the rest of the day. Continue to check out our Streetwise segments. We'll see you next time.